Hi everyone, welcome to another learning episode. Today I'll be sharing one of the important elements or sections in our research paper, which is the definition of terms. The definition of terms consists of list of key terms or important terms that need to be defined in our research paper. The terms should be written in alphabetical order, and it consists of two types of definition, including conceptual definition and operational definition. The first part of this discussion will help us identify the difference between conceptual and operational definition. But before that, I want also to share that the definition of terms is found in the last part of our chapter 1, or it could be found as well in the last part of our introduction if we are following the IMRAD or the IMRAD format. Without further ado, let's hop into the first part of this discussion, which is about conceptual and operational definition. Now, I will be giving you one research title, which is Science Experiments for Learners' Academic Achievement. Based on this research title, which do you think are the terms that need to be included and defined in our definition of terms? Yes, the terms that need to be defined and included in our definition of terms are the science experiments and the academic achievement. Now, I will be defining these two terms, and I want you to identify which definition is conceptual and which one is classified as operational definition. We'll start with the key term, science experiment. Science experiment is a scientific test which is done in order to discover what happens to something in particular conditions. This is according to Collins in the year 2021. The other definition is science experiment refers to the intervention program, which is a home-based Science 9 experiment about the competency of using the mole concept to express the mass of substances. This will be conducted among the chosen participants to see its effectiveness in improving the academic performance of grade 9 students. Now, these two are the definition of the word or the term science experiment. Which between the two is the conceptual definition and which one is the operational definition? So the first one is the conceptual definition. Science experiment is a test which is done in order to discover what happens to something in particular conditions. According to Collins in the year 2021. This one is the conceptual definition because it shares to us the general or the theoretical definition of the term based on a certain author. So this is how we generally understand the term based on the knowledge that we gain from our primary and high school education because you read it somewhere from an expert, from a book, from a journal, from a legit article. Now, the other one is the operational definition because, as the name suggests, this is how the word operates in our research paper. This is how we specifically use the term in our research study. So when we talk about science experiment in our research study, it refers to the home-based experiment that we employ as an intervention program to check if it will help in improving the grade 9 students' academic achievement. So this is a very structured and specific definition of the term because this is how we are going to measure the science experiment. It doesn't have any in-text citation at all because we hadn't gotten it from any author, unlike the conceptual definition, since it's a theoretical definition, so it was taken from an author, from an expert. Now, we'll proceed to the next example. The other one that need to be defined in our research title was the academic achievement. Now, I want you to do the same thing. Identify which one is a conceptual definition and which one is an operational definition. Academic achievement is the ability to prove academic achievement in the acquisition of the learning outcome. This is according to Wibrowski, CR, et al. In the year 2017. Now, the other definition is academic achievement refers to the performance scores of grade 9 students as shown in the results of their assessment test through pre-test and post-test administered to them before and after the intervention. Now, I will be asking you the same thing. Which do you think is the conceptual definition and which one is operational definition? Now, it's easier for us to identify the conceptual and operational definition because we already have a knowledge. Now, the first one again is the conceptual definition because this is how we generally understand the term. This is, in theory, how we define the term based on an author, an article, a credible source, or a book. Now, the operational definition, it's a more structured and a very specific definition of the term because it helps us identify how we are going to measure the academic achievement. In particular, we are going to measure academic achievement in this research study by giving the students the pre-test and post-test scores in order to compare the improvement. So pre-test score refers to the scores that they gain before having the intervention program, and during or after administering the intervention program, which is the home-based experiment, we will conduct another set of post-tests to identify the improvement or the academic achievement of the students. I hope you are learning so far about the definition of terms, particularly the two types of definition, the conceptual and operational definition. I will proceed right away to the second part of this discussion, which is giving you the look of our definition of terms in our research paper or in our Microsoft Office. This is how our definition of terms will be formatted. So the definition of terms is written in bold, as you can see in the format, and we will have an introductory statement before defining each of the specific terms. So these terms are being defined to ensure that readers understand their usage in this study from the conceptual and operational standpoint. You can use or copy this introductory statement, or you can also make use of your own. So as long as you introduce that this section will help the readers understand the conceptual and operational definition of the key terms in your research paper. You can see we have defined the academic achievement first because definition of terms section looks like defining terms in a dictionary. So our terms must be listed in alphabetical order. So we started with the academic achievement because it's, of course, the initial letter starts with letter A. And then right after the academic achievement, we also defined modular learning, the second one, and then we have science experiments, and then the last one is the strategic intervention material. So again, we should not forget as researchers when we are writing or when we are listing our different terms in the definition of terms, it must be written in alphabetical order. And our sentences must be written in complete sentences as well. We should not define certain term using a phrase only or a clause or an incomplete sentence because it will break the formality of the paper. Our definition, operational and conceptual, must be written in complete sentences. Now, I hope you are doing great so far. You are learning with all the format, and I hope you will be following these guidelines later on as you work with your definition of terms. Now, we will proceed to the last part of this discussion. You might be asking, what are the words that should be defined in my definition of terms? Or what are the words that should be defined and included in our definition of terms? Now, the first word or words or key terms that need to be defined in your research paper are the terms that you commonly use that are difficult or unfamiliar words. So, if there are terms in your research paper that obviously you repeatedly use it, but then again, it is hard to understand or it might create confusion and difficulty to the readers, it's very important that you include it in your definition of terms. Second, if there are terms with multiple meanings, it should be included as well in your definition of terms because it might create ambiguity to your readers and they might be confused as well. For example, the words market. Market has a lot of definitions. And then ATM, this term should be defined as well. And then the third one, you must define the phenomenon or the variables being measured in your research paper. Earlier, we defined science experiment and the academic achievement because these are phenomenon or the variables being measured in a research paper. Now I'll be giving another research title sample, and I want you to identify which are the terms that need to be defined in this research title. This one is emotional quotient and communicative competence of grade 12 UM students. Now, which do you think, or what are the terms that need to be defined and included in our definition of terms? The first one, of course, is emotional quotient. So, emotional quotient is the variable we are measuring and investigating in our research study, so it needs to be defined. Then the other one is communicative competence. Of course, it is a variable as well, so it must be included in your definition of terms. So you must define the conceptual and operational definition of this, so to give our readers a full understanding about the term. Although as teachers, we're very particular or familiar with the term UMS, and other students as well, but there are still readers or people who do not have any idea at all what is the meaning behind the strand UMS, so you also have to define it. That's it. These are the things that we have to know about our section in the research paper, definition of terms. I hope you learn a thing or two from this discussion. See you in our next episode. Keep on learning!